Hello, this is Dr. Julie Fernandez, and this module is about the dissertation, an introduction. This is going to be some time I want to spend with you to talk to you about the dissertation process and how we apply the rules of writing a dissertation at HBU. What is a dissertation? Well, as the definition on this slide tells you, the dissertation is the ultimate performance event in the doctoral education. All doctoral students in most programs must write a dissertation. It is the largest piece of literature you will ever write. It is averaging almost at least over 100 pages long, and it has different parts to it that will help make a contribution to the body of knowledge in the topic that you want to write about. It also talks about your understanding of published literature, and you're able to contribute to original high quality research. Since this is an education doctorate degree, we are looking for dissertation topics that help contribute to the field of education, mental health and human services, or special education, or leadership. So it is going to be a practical form of research, not totally theoretical, as you will see in other programs. At HBU, our dissertations are set up as traditional 5-chapter research papers. The first chapter is an introduction, your theoretical framework, and the questions for your research. We also will have definitions of terms in that first chapter. Your second chapter is your literature review. The third chapter is your methodology. So what are you going to study? Who are you going to have in your sample groups? When is this going to happen, and what kind of methodology? Are you going to do a qualitative study, or are you going to do a quantitative study? Chapter 4 is the results of your research methodology, and Chapter 5 is a discussion of the results and the conclusions. Now in the next few slides I will go into more details. Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is the beginning. It is the first chapter in your dissertation. You will have an introduction, background of the study, statement of the problem, purpose of the study, significance of the study, definition of terms, theoretical framework, research questions or a hypothesis, limitations, delimitations, assumptions, and organization of the study. All of these are subtitles in your Chapter 1. It does average about 25 pages. This is just when you start giving that introduction to your topic. Your dissertation chair will help you with this process. Your dissertation chair will look at your topic that you're choosing and help you narrow the topic down, help you think about what questions you want to answer. Remember that our research here at HBU is practical based. So you're looking at real issues that are happening and how can we solve those issues. The biggest challenge for our students is they pick very large topics such as turnaround schools. Well, turnaround schools has been researched and researched and researched. There are books and books and books about turnaround schools, research articles that will go forever. I have binders on turnaround schools. So if you want to do something that's such as that type of topic, you have to narrow it down to a specific part of turnaround schools. You would have to be able to understand the background of that. What would be the problem with turnaround schools? Is there a specific area in that topic range that you can really focus upon? Why is the big question. Why would you want to study that? Why would this be significant? Then you would be looking into the theoretical framework. What kinds of theories are surrounding that piece of turnaround schools you are working on? Then you come up with your research questions. What do you want to know? And where will you be able to research to be able to find out? What kind of study would you do? A quantitative study, a qualitative study? Are there limitations? Are there delimitations, assumptions, organization, and how are you going to organize this study? So there's a lot. So this is your first part where you start writing about your topic and just kind of getting an idea of where you're going. Many times your dissertation chair will ask you to write Chapter 1, or at least the introduction and the background, And then they'll help you narrow down the rest of the topics so that you can really be focused on the area that you want to study. If you are picking a topic, such as turnaround schools, and it's so big, be prepared that you will be asked to narrow it and narrow it and narrow it, because we don't want you writing the same study that you've always done or you've read. We want you to find more, something new. So be thinking about your topics, because I know there are a lot of ideas out there. Chapter 2. This is the biggest chapter that you write. The purpose of this is for you to understand the existing published literature on your topic. I know you see the big 50 plus pages. That is the encouragement. You will have some chairs that will say maybe 40, 35, 40 pages. But this is significant. You are looking at everything you can find on your topic. And again, your chair will help you narrow the focus on this so that you are looking wide. What is the big picture on your topic? And then you're going to take each subtopic, narrowing it down to the focus of what you're planning to study. And a lot of that is if you come up with your title of what you want to study, that you're dissecting your title and giving it down to exactly what does the research say so far about your topic. I do want to caution everyone on this one piece, though, that you have to give both sides of the story. You need to be very aware of your own personal bias. I have read so many dissertations in which the researcher is writing about a topic that is near and dear to their heart, and they don't always look at the other side, the opposing point of view. And so that, I would say, is not a true understanding of the published literature on a topic if you're only giving it from one side. So be aware of your bias and make sure that you're looking at every single avenue that pertains to your topic, so that when you finish writing chapter 2, you are an expert on that topic. That's the whole point of this. You need to know everything about this topic, and so you need to do research through our school, our library. I discourage you from just going on Google Scholar, because then you're going to be asked to buy articles and so forth, and it's expensive. Our library at HBU has all of the materials you need, so please go to the website and check out our HBU library. They will help you, and there's also librarians on call to help you with your research. So if you call them and say, listen, I need some help, I'm looking for this topic, and I'm having a difficult time finding it, they can help you. They are prepared and ready to help you with that process. I also remind you here that you should not ever use Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not a source that is credible. So please, please, please do not use Wikipedia. And finally, some of the things that you wrote in chapter 1, you can use in chapter 2. So you have given an introduction to your topic, and all you're going to do is expand on what you've already written. And if you write it in chapter 1 and then you write it in the same thing in chapter 2, you're just, again, expanding on that topic and that information. You will be using your chapter 2 information in chapter 5. After your study is complete and you've done your actual research and you get your data back, you may find things that you did not expect to find, that you didn't include in your chapter 2. So what I tell my students is, if I found something different or unusual, I will write that as my conclusions in my chapter 5, but then I have to go back and add it to my chapter 2. Let me give you an example. In my study, I was studying the different types of priorities that principals have. And I had them I took the list from Wallace Foundation list of what principals focus on. Throughout my study, I found that the principals really did take into account instruction and school culture and not so much the day-to-day managerial tasks. But what I did notice was that principals did not focus fully on building leadership capacity. I didn't find that out until after I got my results from my surveys that I had sent out and the interviews that I did. So I had to go back and do more research on building leadership capacity so that I could write that in my chapter 5 as one of my results was that principals didn't really focus on building leadership capacity. But then I had to go back to chapter 2 and build the case around leadership, building leadership capacity. So if you say it in chapter 5, it better have been in chapter 2. Hello, this is Dr. Julie Fernandez, and this module is about the dissertation, an introduction. This is going to be some time I want to spend with you to talk to you about the dissertation process and how we apply the rules of writing a dissertation at HBU. So after you have finished gathering your data, you've gotten your IRB, you've written chapter 1, 2, 3, you have gotten our IRB approval, your proposal, you passed your proposal, you've passed your candidacy, which is part of your proposal process. Now you can follow through on your study. You can start disaggregating data if it's a quantitative study. You can start pushing through and getting the interviews and so forth. So once you have all of your data, that's when you start getting your results. It's interesting. I love this part of the study because you finally get to show exactly what's happening. But please remember, you're not giving any opinions in this chapter. No opinions, you're just giving the facts. Just what you found based on the data that you have. Nothing else. Not your opinion is not important here. Not in this chapter. It is pure data. I will encourage you also that if you're doing a qualitative study, and so let's say you're sending out surveys or you're sending out working with focus groups, you have to have a significant number of people in your study. So please talk to your chair of what that means by significance. If I send out a survey and I get 5 answers, that is not significant. Then your limitations are too much. I mean, too many limitations to that because you can't make any kind of final thought about that topic if all you do have is 5 people responding to a survey. That really doesn't mean much. So when you're looking at surveys, you should have 100 people responding. Unless it's a very small group of people that do that job. So if you're surveying teachers, I mean, we have millions of teachers in this country. We have thousands here in Houston. So getting 5 isn't good unless you have like such a narrow scope of teachers working with autistic students in a secondary school that's high poverty and very limited in its diversity. Even then, you can find more than 5. So please look at your numbers and make sure you work with your chair on this on your methodology. Oh, you're almost done. You're towards the finish line. This is chapter 5. Chapter 5 is my favorite chapter to write because now your opinion gets to be thrown into this. But your opinion is only as good as your data. If you do not have your data to support what you are saying is happening in your summary of findings and the implications for practice, then there's not much you can do or say. So this chapter is focusing on how do you get your response, your data that you have found, your results, and you're going to connect it to research from your chapter 2, and you may be adding more research in your chapter 5 based on your findings. And you have to answer each of your research questions. So if you have 3, 4, or 5 questions, you're answering those questions based on the data that you have. Then you're going to talk about implications of practice. Remember, this is a practitioner's degree. So what does it mean? How does your results help us as educators, as people working in the mental health and human services area? How does this help us? It's the so what. So what you found this, but what's the difference? What's going to help me? Then you make recommendations for other research. What did you find or did not find, or you think, you know what, I wish, or somebody should go take my research a little further and explore this based on what I found so far. And then your conclusion. This is interesting because when you are looking for your topic and you're struggling a little bit, look at other dissertations. You can find those on ProQuest through our school library. And again, it's ProQuest is the clearinghouse for all dissertations. Your dissertation will be published onto ProQuest. If you find a topic that's similar to your topic, you can look at their chapter 5, their recommendations for research, and they could give you suggestions on what to research in that topic. So that's pretty cool. So you can look at different people and find out what you can research. When you get done with chapter 5, you can celebrate because you've pretty much written the whole thing. There's a lot of pieces in between. Again, this is just an introduction. We will go into more detail in a future module. All right, so I assume you're really stressed right now, so take a deep breath. It's okay. Everybody who writes a dissertation in a doctoral program, this is the part of the whole program that stresses people out the most, and it's okay. You're healthy if you're feeling a little nervous about this. It seems like you're about to walk up Mount Everest and you only have a pair of tennis shoes on and a pair of shorts, and you know you're not prepared yet. But I think you are. So be assured that we will help you through this process. All of us, anyone who has a doctorate degree went through this process, so we know where you're coming from and we're here to help you. So when do you start writing? Some of you are eager to start writing. Well, first of all, start thinking about possible topics. My professor told me, he says, think of your soapbox. What are you really wanting to do to change something? And for me, what it came down to was that I really wanted to improve leadership in schools. And I did a lot of research and really worked on what can I do to be a better principal. And that was what I was basing it on. I was a school principal. I wanted to be a better one. So my research was really based on my own need to improve myself as a leader. So start thinking about possible topics. Then start reading about them and seeing, okay, what I can read research and I can read books and different things on that topic. And so I'm wanting to narrow it down. Also look and see if that topic hasn't been over-researched already. If you find, let's say you want to study, like I go back to turnaround schools, you say, well, I want to do turnaround schools, and then you find that the publication's already saturated. We already know what kind of principals are good principals in turnaround schools. We already know what kind of teachers are good teachers in turnaround schools. We also know about culture and climate in turnaround schools. So why would you write about something that we already know the answer to? So try to find something that you don't have the answer to. Another topic I see a lot of is working with children of diverse backgrounds who are in special education, and they're over-identified. Yes, we know that, and we know why. So what other aspect could you give for that topic? So make sure we don't, I mean, if I can answer the question, or your committee or your chair can say, you ask a question and we can give an answer, then you need to dig deeper. No question should be a yes/no question. It needs to be really an open-ended question when you're working with questions. So narrow the topic, narrow. And again, your chair will help you with that. You need to discuss your ideas with your dissertation chair. You will be assigned your dissertation chair during the second semester of your doctoral program, which means that while you are kind of figuring out what you want to study, you can start doing the research so you can have a conversation once you're assigned to them. We will ask you to give us an idea of what your topic is, and your dissertation chair will be a person that has got similar background for that topic or experience with that topic, knowledge. They are researching that topic themselves. So we want to connect the dots so you don't get somebody as a dissertation chair that does not have any knowledge in your topic area. So we're real careful with that. Finally, listen to their advice. please listen to your chair. They want you to be successful. But even more so, their name is put on your dissertation. And so they're very picky, and they need to be picky. Their reputation is on the line here when they sign off. As dean, my reputation is on the line when I sign off on your dissertation. So I want these to be strong, not only for you, but for this university and for my faculty. So we're a bit picky. We've had incidents where we've had students that have gone what I call rogue. They've gone rogue. And that means they've taken a topic, they've written 100 pages on it, and they get so stuck into it that they're not willing to listen to the advice of their chair. And they end up not finishing because no chair wants to support them in that process because they're doing their own thing. No matter what you do, you have to get approval from your dissertation chair. Not the committee, the chair. Your committee members can help you, but your chair makes the final decision on everything. You will not defend your proposal. You will not defend your final dissertation research until your chair approves this. So be friends with your chair, work with them, and listen to them. They are smart people. Hello, this is Dr. Julie Fernandez, and this module is about the dissertation, an introduction. This is going to be some time I want to spend with you to talk to you about the dissertation process and how we apply the rules of writing a dissertation at HBU. Okay, I think I've already said this once, but when do you get your chair? Your dissertation chair is not your advisor. Your dissertation chair just works on your dissertation. Your advisor works with your program, your courses, helping you through getting through the maze of higher education. But your chair, dissertation chair, is the person who supervises you as you write. So the second semester, we will help you match with a chair, and he or she will help you create your committee. So you get a committee of about 3 people along with your chair. Committee members can be from inside of our college. There are committee members that can be outside of our college, say from another college at the university, let's say from business or from fine arts or from nursing, Christian thought. They would love to serve on committees. You can also invite somebody that you work with to be on your committee, but this person needs to have a dissertation already, so they have to have a terminal degree. Some people ask their assistant superintendents to be on their committee. Some people ask their principals who already have doctorate degrees to be on their committee. I just caution you on that to make sure that your research is very sound, because once it goes, if you have your superintendent or your principal or somebody in high leadership in a school district or in your organization as on your committee member, remember they're going to see everything, they're going to see your writing, they're going to see it all. And you have to be very secure in that. I'm not discouraging you from doing that. I encourage you to do that, because sometimes they're the ones who see great research and then they consider you for promotion. So there's great things about that. But also know now you need to really, really be careful and make sure that you are doing some quality research if you invite those people. All right, so when do you start your paper? Well, right now you're just trying to find your ideas, find your research. Remember, right now you're just reading and trying to discover what you want to study. In your first course, you'll be writing a theoretical framework and your leadership theory and applications course. And that's great because we're just going to go through that process so you can understand how to apply theories to your research. That's amazing. So that's a beginning. But during the spring of 20 is when we're going to try to get you to narrow your topic. We will help you with that narrowing, assign your chair, and then your chair is going to work with you to get yourself started. So you should be getting chapters 1 and 2 possibly done by summer of 20. Remember, this is a 3-year program. So that's about when you're going to get started. You will do your actual research, you're going to collect your data. Your second year, you will be approved for collecting your data. That's your chapter 3. And once your IRB and everything has gone through and you've proposed successfully. And then during your last year, you're allowed to once you finish gathering your data and you finish your chapters 4 and 5, you will not be allowed to defend your final paper, your final research, until your last year in the program. All right, so a real quick summary of your paper. So you start with gathering ideas, reading, narrowing your topic, meet with your chair. Then go to the right and you're going to write your chapter 1, you meet with your chair. You write your chapter 2, you meet with your chair. You're sending them your writing so that they can review it. I'm going to put this in right now. They are not your editors, so send clean papers to your chairs. And I mean grammatically clean. Your spelling is correct. Your sentence structures are correct. Your citations are correct. Your references are correct. So, but don't be afraid to send it to them. And send them sections. So you'll write chapter 2. Then you write chapter 3. You meet with your chair to prepare for your proposal defense. Your proposal defense can't be presented to your next second fall semester. If your proposal is approved, then you can apply for IRB. Then you can apply for your district organizational approval. All school districts request that you have IRB approval. It goes back and forth, but you have to notify a district if you are using their data or you're interviewing their people. At that point, once you've gotten to that point, you will be approved for candidacy. Then you're going to work on your study, whether it be quantitative or qualitative. You meet with your chair and begin writing chapter 4. So you're sharing your data with your chair. You write chapter 5, meet with your chair, make sure it's clean. Final defense, not until your 3rd year. After you have completed your final defense, that means your paper is clean. You have 30 days after your final defense to clean up any parts of the paper that the committee felt like needed to be tightened up a little bit. And then you're allowed to publish on ProQuest, and you'll go through the ProQuest process to get your paper published. You are not considered a doctor, so don't use that name, that title, so to speak, until after you walk across the stage. So to get a doctorate, you have to have all of your courses completed and your dissertation completed. Then once it is, you go to graduation, or after you have all of those through, the president of the university will approve, and the school and the board of HBU will approve, and the dean, myself, will approve, and then you'll be finished, and then you'll be considered a doctor. If you complete all of your classes and you have not completed your dissertation, you're considered all but dissertation. That's ABD. I would not suggest putting that in your title. That's not a good thing to put in your title. So you don't say I have an MED and I'm ABD. ABD just means you didn't complete. So let's finish the paper so that you can be a doctor. One of my chairs was Dr. Angus McNeil. Yes, I went to University of Houston for my doctorate degree. And he said to me, it better be over 100 pages long or it should make me cry. The research should be so awesome that I just am so overwhelmed that if it's under 100 pages, it's amazing. Typically, your paper needs to be at least 100 pages long. So understand that. Don't look at it as something that's overwhelming. Believe it or not, you will not have a hard time getting to 100 pages. Just a lot of what you write will be in chapter 2. And so the more you write, the better you do. And just make sure that you work through making sure you're not plagiarizing, copying other people's work, making sure that you are able to write distinctly and that everything you write is accurate. But don't worry about it. You will get over 100 pages, I promise. Wow, this isn't a race. You're taking classes. You have a lot of assignments. Once you get your topic, I would suggest that most of your assignments, if you can, write about your topic so that you're not double doing too much work. For example, when I was writing my research about principals and leaders, every assignment that I had in all of my classes, I wrote about principals and leaders so that I could take that same piece of work, and add it to my dissertation chapter 2. So make sure you complete your classwork. This isn't a race. If you finish in September of your final year, that doesn't mean you're better than everybody else. And if you don't finish until the deadline, which is 30 days before graduation, if you don't hit that deadline and you end up going into the summer, it doesn't mean you're not as smart as the person who did it earlier. It just means we all work at different paces, and things happen during your dissertation process, during your doctorate. Life happens. People have babies, people die, people lose their jobs, people move. Things happen, and you just have to be patient with yourself and just work the problem step by step. Start getting organized. Start setting time aside to read. Set time aside to write. Explain to your family that you are working on this very big project and they need to be supportive. Set up a spot where you can do your writing. I would suggest not doing it on the kitchen table or the dining room table. Not in an open space, because what ends up happening is that people come in and you have to move things and they mess up your piles, and then you get lost. I also suggest save your paper in multiple places. Save it on the cloud. Save it on flash drives. Don't save it on your computer at work, because if you leave, it could get lost. A wonderful friend of mine saved all of her writing on a flash drive, and then her purse got stolen. She had to start from scratch. So again, save in multiple places. I used to go on trips and I had 3 copies, 3 different flash drives, and I hid my computer when I went on vacation because I was afraid somebody would steal it. So we all get a little paranoid on this. So be careful. But remember, your classwork comes first. You have to get your classwork done. And I know it's a lot, but to achieve this degree, this level of education, means that you're going to have to work harder than you've ever worked in your life. And it's worth it. It really is worth it. I'm very proud of HBU, the College of Education, that we're able to provide this degree. So I'm looking forward to working with all of you, and so is our college. Thank you.